Antonblast! This was my most anticipated game of the year, and it delivered so well, and it deserves the game of the year in my book. Now, I have already several hours on the game, and I noticed something. In Prologue's shop, there's a balloon, and once you get it, the balloon hangs on the player. And once the player gets hit, the balloon pops. Now, you might be wondering, what is the purpose of the balloon? And the first reason is that there's an achievement for it, and that's really the only practical reason. The second reason is that it is funny to see a grown-ass Florida man who's an alcoholic and a single father carrying a balloon. That last part is questionable whether it's canon or not, but I'll count towards it. And yeah, that's the whole purpose of the balloon. However, this is a challenge video, and I want to do an Antonblast challenge. So there are only 3 rules. Those are that I have to have the balloon on me at all times, and if it pops, we have to get it back. We can get it back at Prologue's shop by purchasing another one for 50,000 poker chips. I tried to restart a level after the balloon pops, and that unfortunately does not work. However, for some reason, you can restart from a checkpoint and still have the balloon. But that took me an embarrassing amount of time to figure out. But this is basically no hit run. Now, to make this more interesting, I have decided to get all 4 of the collectibles in one go. The first collectible is the Spirit. And in this game, you have to get all 19 spirits to beat the game. Thankfully, the spirits are always in plain sight, so even if you're not paying attention, you would still accidentally get the spirits. The second collectible is a cassette tape, to use in Prologue's juke room. The third collectible is a spray can for cool color palettes. And the last collectible has Annie lose all of her memorabilia, and they don't look to be in the best quality, but hey, as they always say, one man's trash is another woman's treasure. Obviously this is possible, but I still think this would be an interesting video idea. And it can be sort of a guide to get cracked on the bosses. So before it is time to start, make sure to watch the video till the end to find out how many balloons were destroyed. Or you could just skip to the end if you're an asshole. Anyways, it's time to play! Not good. One day, Satan gets cocky that he is the reddest thing on the planet, or /n, and is told by his mirror that there's another red guy, which is specifically a Florida man, who's an alcoholic and a single father, whose name is Dynamite Anton. Satan is jealous that there's someone redder than him, and then Satan sends his fiercest warriors, that are moles, to take the thing Anton values most, so that Anton will travel to hell to get the thing he loves most back. Satan then states that he wants to siphon Anton's redness so that he can be the reddest thing on the planet. Meanwhile, at Anton's place, the Brawlbusters break in and steal all but one of Anton's spirits. They all leave, even fixing Anton's door, and that one left out immediately breaks. And now Anton is incredibly pissed, and now is angry enough to destroy anything and everything to get his spirits back. Boiler City. Wait. Where's the balloon? Give me a minute. Shut up, Prologue, give me the balloon. Let's name it, Hi. Okay, bye. Boiler City. Now Anton forgets his wallet, then jumps back through the window, and we get the television. It turns out Anton's wallet was in his pocket this entire time. Hate when that happens. We continue on, we blast through the tutorial section, and then we fall down a height that a normal Florida man would survive from, and then Anton turns into the Anton ball, and we are introduced to the detonators. In this game, there are 4 detonators, and we have to activate them all to get through these levels. We then have to turn back into the Anton ball, and we roll through the bowling pins, and we get our first spray can. We then head underground, and we blast through another detonator, and we get the spirit. We then use another detonator, and then we launch ourselves through a concrete machine and kill Anton, and we make it to the spirit timer, and it's happy hour! And it is here where we meet the Bucket Brigade, riding a blimp. We escape the blimp, and then we go back to the boiler sewers, and we go all the way down to get the cassette tape, and then we go back up to the rooftops of Boiler City, and then we escape through Prologue's elevator. And that is the first level cleared. And that is the only level I managed to do first try. We then make it to Prologue's casino, where Prologue is upset about Anton being here and has a problem revolving around demons being all over his businesses and wants Anton to exterminate them all. Prologue also offers Anton a lift to the band at Prologue's. Anton accepts, and we can move on to the East Wing. Slowroast Sewer. Now, starting from this level, the difficulty is going to spike up like crazy. We start off with Annie destroying the detonator to the sewers. We do a cool trick shot that makes me feel cool, but in reality, it's simple to do. And we get the cassette tape. And then we carefully avoid the beetles that plague the sewer water. Wait a second. I don't think Boiler City is dealing with their sewage problem, right? And we go deeper into the sewers. We then have to destroy the toilets that just so happen to be in the sewers. Don't know why they're there, but we soon come across the sewer shark. We slide through the water and charge at many blocks, and then we're ejected from the sewer shark, and then we have to face off against the Vex Men. Now, the Vex Men are not the best enemies to deal with, and I have lost several runs to this enemy alone. But eventually we defeat the Vex Men, and we move on to the storage room, and we dash through Brawlbusters. We then patiently swim past the Beals, and we do a room where Annie becomes the Annie Ball. And we roll through some more Brawlbusters, and we get the Banani. We then have to activate 2 doors, and it's not the worst, so yay. We then have to head to the next sewer shark, and we destroy the metal blocks, and we get the spray can to this level. We kill Anton, and we accidentally launch a rocket ship. Hope that's not a missile. And then we go deeper into the sewers to get the spirit, and we clear some more water that leads to the spirit timer, and it's happy hour! In which the boiler explodes and burns everything. And we go through the bottom of the sewers and Donkey Kong our way through the depths. We then find the next sewer shark, and we do some platforming that took me a few tries, and we escape the boiler depths. And then we go back through the sewers, and we find another sewer shark. And then we keep going up until we launch ourselves through a concrete machine. And we destroy the ceiling, and we launch back to Brulo's elevator. And that is another level cleared. Brawlbuster. Now this guy will move left and right, and you can't attack him unless if you wait for Brawlbuster to move around and slingshot himself around the boxing ring. Then he will get cocky and pose. Now is your time to attack. Then once hit, Brawlbuster will be angry and attack by stomping the player, thus causing my only loss in the level. But be careful and then wait for Brawlbuster to slam the ground and make sure to dodge. Wait for him to pose, then attack. Once hit again, Brawlbuster will try to use Anton's atomic bomb on him, but avoid that and hit Brawlbuster again. Brawlbuster will throw every one of his moves on Anton. After hit again, Brawlbuster becomes enraged and throws out a chair. Just hammer Bolt over him, and then once Brawlbuster hits the chair on himself, jump on the ring and then deliver the final blow, and that is our first boss cleared. And we get the spirit. Cinnamon Springs. Now this challenge's difficulty can be summarized by this Satan quote.
No matter how hard things may seem now, just know they can only get worse.
Could not have said it better myself. Now this level starts off with lava and tilting platforms. Now, I got impatient and tried to speed, and yeah. We attempted this level again, and then we get past the lava and tilting platforms, and we make it to the bouncing section, and then I got impatient again, and I tried again, and we get to the spirits much earlier than we were supposed to, and we destroy a mountain, and then we kill Anton, and then Anton becomes the Crash Bandicoot, and we destroy everything that comes close to us. We then make it up further into the springs, and we do some mediocre platforming. And then we use the tornado block to open up this path, and then we destroy another tourist attraction, and we get the next spray can. We then make a jump on rotating platforms, and we then do a few tight jumps, and we got an empty chip bag. Later in the level, we roll into a ball, and we get the cassette tape. We are then introduced to the spit totem, where we can hammer bolts on the balls. We then push a few more detonators, and we bounce off of the spit totem balls, and then we destroy an entire satanic temple, and it's happy hour! This happy hour was not too interesting. Most of it was just backtracking, and the parts where you do go into another path are just some more tight platform jumps. But we go through the concrete machine, and we move carefully on the tilting platforms, and we say hi to Greg, and we escape, and that is another level cleared. Bomb Candy Mines. We start this level with turning into the Annie Ball, and then we start going into the depths of the cave, and we destroy a few Brawlbusters, and then we go into the background to destroy the Peepos, and then we get the cassette tape. We are then introduced to the bombs, in which we have to knock back to destroy the bomb blocks. We then detonate a detonator, and then switch to the dice. we head back to where we were, and then we turned into the Anti-Ball again, and then we destroy another set of bomb blocks, and we descend deeper into the mines. We kill Anton, and then we do some more bomb puzzles, and then we carefully avoid the hate crates, and then flip the dice, and then shove the bomb to a ladder in which we climb all the way up to get the baseball glove. And then we head back down to detonate and detonator, and then we head into the background, and then we head into a dumpster. And we reach the reoccurring room where we have to deal with Brawlbusters, which do get annoying at points. We then push an 8-ball over, and we meet the crab. And be quick when dealing with them, because if you do not react fast enough, you will fail. After dodging the crab a couple of times, we make it to the detonator, and then we really turn into the Anti-Ball, and then we head back to the second section to get the spray can. We then head all the way back to the Anti-Ball but for real section, and you still have to be careful in this form, as if you take damage, the balloon still pops. After bouncing around the slopes, we activate another detonator, and then we get free poker chips. And then you have to be careful in the room with the salamanders, as they will explode. We then get the spirit, and it's happy hour! Here, you have to avoid the lava coming your way, so you have to throw bombs around, and I don't think anyone mentions this, but the room titles are really funny, especially with the context of what's happening during the level. Here, take a look. We have finally escaped the next few rooms where lava is closing in on us. Eventually, we make it to the concrete machine, and we escape the bomb candy mines. And that is another level cleared. Anton finds Satan, and Satan reflects that Anton is Redder in person, and tells Anton that he was the one that stole Anton's spirits. And Anton is pissed! And then Satan runs off, and we are introduced to Ghoul. Now, in the big bosses for this game, you have to hit the boss many times, but they are always mostly vulnerable. Here, Ghoul will send his goons to defeat Anton, and will punch, in which you can jump over. Shoot, which you can destroy the bullet. He will also smoke you, in which I do not recommend hitting him in the head, because Anton will land on the fire. Trust me, I tried that multiple times. And another one of Ghoul's attacks is that he will send out minecarts with glass shards, and do this card attack in which, if hit, Anton will become a tornado. So spam the hammer vault as many times as you can until Ghoul goes down. How many bosses have I played that forged the main character? I feel like I played a concerning amount of them. For some reason, the balloon disappears, and I don't know why, despite in the footage showing that I do have the balloon when transitioning from the first phase, but all of a sudden, it disappears. The second phase has Ghoul's heart slam the cigarettes that Ghoul has been eating. Ghoul needs to see a doctor immediately, but not so immediately, because we gotta destroy his heart. After a little bit, Ghoul's heart will send out spike enemies in which you have to bounce off of with the hammer bolts. We then destroy Ghoul's heart, and then Anton jumps out and pulls out his cowboy outfit, and we destroy Ghoul. And that is a boss cleared. We got the spirit, and for proof that I did the boss, you can see that I have cracked right here. and I came out with a balloon, so we're good. And we can move on to the west wing. The Big Bath. Well, I'm gonna get a lot of hate from this, but I thought it was a pretty boring level. And thankfully, because it's empty, the enemies were not a problem. The power-up in this level is a torpedo, and it's alright to control. We make it to the first secret room, and we get... I think that's a Tamagotchi. Once we are in the restroom part, we go swimming, and then Annie forgets her cassette tape and goes back for it. We go through the mirror, and we go into the room with the annoying part where you have to get the spray can. We swim through flying water, and we get the spirit. And it's happy hour! Just be careful, and once we are duped by the Satan elevator, beat it up, and then escape the dark part, and we make it back to Brulo's elevator, and that's another level cleared. Tallbuster. We hit the bucket of lava, telling Annie to hit it, and Tallbuster screams for his life. Tallbuster does not do all too much. He crawls on over to another station and throws bombs at Brawlbusters, and that's really it. He's not really the ambitious guy. To avoid the bombs, I would recommend hammer vaulting over them, and to avoid the Brawlbusters that Tallbuster sends at you, just scream to push them into the water. They will explode. But we pour lava on Tallbuster a few more times, and only now he starts to throw a giant amount of bombs. And he then carefully dodges it, and we return the sender, and we deliver the final blow to Tallbuster, and we get the spirit, and that's another boss cleared. Concrete Jungle. We start off with jumping over saws and then climbing up platforms while destroying Brawlbusters, and we are introduced to the rail grinding mechanic, which is probably the best one in a 2D platformer. The jumping jelly is so fun to play around, and we meet Mr. Bombastic. We then are introduced to the throw Gorkies, which throw Anton in whichever direction he is holding, and we are also introduced to the jelly walls in which Anton can climb. We then activate a detonator, and we get the spirit. We then head around to a challenge room, and... I did not fail during this room at all, but we get the cassette tape and we do some more rail grinding, this time avoiding the skateboard snails, and to do that we make sure to boost and then jump to have more momentum when jumping. We then blast through more enemies and we activate a detonator, and then we head into the concrete machine and we activate another detonator that has a hammer swing and smashing a totem. And then Anton cuts down a tree, and we killed Anton. And then we go rail grinding. Then we fall to the dump, and we find the controller that no one knows how to hold. We do some more rail grinding, and that makes me feel cool. We bounce through more jelly. We do another cool jump, and once again rail grind. We then dodge some Nellens, shooting bullets while climbing the ladder. Then we continue to bounce and rail grind, and we make it to the woods. We grab some more poker chips. We jump through a vertical tower, and it's happy hour! Ah, dang it, the balloon popped. Well, I guess I'm going to go further into the level so that I can strategize on what to do so that I don't fail next time, because this is a pretty long level. Ah, dang it, I died. Wait, what? I could have restarted from the checkpoint all along? So this entire time, I have been wasting my time just buying a new balloon and having to restart the entire level, hoping I don't get hit. I then just decided that it's probably better for my mental health, which is close to being non-existent, even when these videos are taken out of the equation. So I will be using checkpoints. We avoid the fire and melons, shooting at Anton, and we swing it and blast through some more enemies, and we have to do some more rail climbing. And we have to do a precise jump to get into this challenge. I have failed so many times trying to get into this room, and we do some more rail climbing. And we get the spray can. We then make a run for it out of this level while blasting everything in our path. We reach Prologue's elevator, and we escape, and that is another level cleared. I should mention that if we use checkpoints, the balloon will disappear once we exit the level. So we have to buy a new one every time we exit the level. So with that information out of the way, let's move on. Pinball Mire. Now here we start with blasting through the Brawlbusters and busting bricks until we see an opening, and then we enter a challenge room where we have to avoid the Brawlbusters' bullets and use them to our advantage by hammer vaulting into them, and we get the broken glass bottle. We then continue to blast through more enemies while avoiding the mud hands, and we do some careful hammer vaults, and we make it to the house, and we go into the back and we turn into the anti-ball, and we blast through Brawlbusters, and we push an 8-ball, and we activate the detonator, and we go into the caves, and we have to get around this area by pushing off the denlings into the lava, and we continue further into the level, and we turn small and get inside a tiny capsule. We kill Anton, and then we do a roll charge to this bumper, and we get the cassette tape. We are then introduced to the level's gimmick, and that is, well, who could have guessed from that very confusing title? Honestly, this is my favorite level in a video game that contains pinball, where you have to switch all the cards over to proceed later into the level, and just make sure you're good at pinball and you should be fine. Do a few more pinball sections, and we get the spirit, and go into the big pinball board, and I swear I am good at pinball. You also have to activate all the detonators, which is a fun time after this section, and he goes so fast to the point where she travels back in time to when Anton was playing with his balls in the original Anton ball, and then we go back to the present, and we get out of the capsule, and we do some platforming with the Brawlbusters bullets, and we do another challenge room where we have to carefully avoid getting hit, and we get the spray. And we deny the mini demons quest because I suck at gambling, so I should probably not gamble. We then go down a hole, and it's happy hour! We do some more pinball, and we destroy everything in our path, and then we hold down left and destroy everything that comes close to us. We then escape the capsule, and we destroy some more bricks, and then we make it back to Prologue's elevator, and that's another level cleared. Freako Dragon. Now, Freako will fly around while summoning the little freaks, while Freako shooting fire, which you can easily avoid if you're not impatient like me. And Freako will also swoop at the camera, in which you have to be quick to dodge. Freako Dragon will also swoop by to destroy the xylophone floor and temporarily have it gone. And also be careful when Freako does his swoop attack and charges at multiple platforms. Just make sure to hammer vault at his face, and then Freako Dragon will hit the pinball machine, and then Annie will fall into the depths of the arena. And the second phase will start, where Freako Dragon is shooting fire. Now here Annie hammer vault on Freako Dragon's body. You can speed this up by holding down, thus having Annie do a tighter hammer vault. Once dealt with, Freako will fly up and Annie latches on, and we climb up Freako Dragon's body by destroying the last few pinball body parts, one by one. We move around one of his pinball body parts and then hitting the crack with the atomic blast, while Freako is shooting fire and denlings at Annie. Just charge some clutches to deal with the denlings, and be quick to destroy the pinball parts before Freako can shoot the fire at you. After most of the Freako Dragon pinball parts are destroyed,
You're going to Brazil!
and that is another boss complete. We get the spirit, and we can move on to the top floor. The Mad Mall. The title card points out that this game takes place in Florida. This has no bearing with the challenge, but I thought it was cool, so I decided to add it in this video. We then head into the mall, and then we blast through some more Satan toys, and we get some poker chips, run down the escalators, and we meet the Mall Goblin, who is trying to open the vault. Now, we could just get all the collectibles, and we could just sit down, doing nothing, but I would argue that it would be boring, and instead we should do the vault route, so that it is more interesting. We start with the green area, where we slide past the trapster, and then blast through enemies, and then be careful when passing this fire gap, because I screwed up a couple of times trying to pass this area. We then flip the dice, and we killed Anton. We push around the 8-ball until we become the Anton ball, and then we are thrown into the ball pit, which if you did not memorize, then good luck. But we get out of the ball pit and we activate the detonator. Our next stop is the back of the mall. We jump in the display car and we ram through many blocks. And then we deal with security cameras by being quick. We then enter the challenge room where you have to slide into the key to throw it, and we get the cassette tape. We then run through security while throwing keys into the locks to unlock them. We also have to do tight platforming near the end, but we go through this section and we activate another detonator. Our next stop is the Keystone Store, where we have to catch up with the trash goblins and destroy them all, and avoid the Satan toys to proceed. We then enter a challenge room where we have to hammer vault across the toy Satans to get the next spray can. We then destroy the next few trash goblins by cornering them, and we activate the next detonator. Our final stop is the Rifle Store, where we blast through Brawlbusters and boxes with poker chips, and we reenact what we did to Ghoul by shooting the cardboard cutouts. We then go into the storage room, and we get the emptied out Fable Tea container, and we shoot down some more cardboard cutouts while avoiding the Brawlbusters and the Vixmen. And then we get to the last section in this area where we have to take the ammunition down and to then fire at the enemies, and the 8-ball clears. And it's happy hour! We obliterate the Mall Goblin, and then we go inside the vault to get the poker chips, and we get the spirits, and then Anton grabs the scooter and destroys the pipe, and we make it back to Brulo's elevator, and that's another level cleared. Smallbuster. Now this is my favorite one of the boss busters because you're so smart and squishable. Please make a Squishmallow out of her. I will buy it. Smallbuster will start with building a punching machine in which you need to avoid the giant fists that home on Anton. Just make sure to move quickly, and eventually the fist will get caught on the screen, and make sure to slam it to send back to Smallbuster. And you have to hammer volts and slam Smallbuster's machine. She will then build a bomb machine. These bombs will have bomb markers, so make sure to avoid those. Eventually, Smallbuster will send some spread out bombs that will move slowly when being launched. So make sure to hammer vault, and if you still feel like you need more airtime, I recommend doing an atomic bomb. Those saves me through many rounds. Smallbuster then has enough and just sends out all of her spread out bombs. I guess the bombs don't want to deal with Anton. Smallbuster will then send out a giant bomb, and we launch it back at her, and then we slam her machine again, and Smallbuster builds a slot machine. This is where it gets chaotic, so make sure to clutch to escape from the attacks. Although hard, it does take a little skill to avoid. Smallbuster's machine then fails, and she launches herself at Anton. You slam the hammer at the cockpit, and then Smallbuster's machine is destroyed. And we deliver the final blow on Smallbuster while she tries to attack Anton. And we defeat Smallbuster, and we get the spirit, and that's another boss cleared. Crimson Factory. We start off by going back and forth in the level through the background and foreground and avoiding the traps, and then we are launched to a conveyor belt in which we blast through every people that comes our way. We then make it to a dumpster, and I recommend that you take the top path because the bottom path is too risky. We then throw around the repos to blow things up, and we carefully avoid the 8 mines while doing so. And we are introduced to this level's gimmick, which you are playing Jetpack Joyride. Now in these sections, you are going to want to be slower so that you can see everything that's coming to you so the balloon does not pop. After that, we have to avoid hitting the pistons that seem to be doing nothing. And we make it to another jetpack section. And like earlier, take it slow and take your time. Then after falling, a fall that a non-Florida woman would die from, we head back up the ladder and we do a challenge section where we have to destroy enemies and carefully move around the 8 mines, and we get the cassette tape. We then blast through junk and avoid the repos, and we avoid more pistons while timing a clutch jump before the pistons close in on us. And my advice for the next 2 sections: on the conveyor belts, do a clutch jump to go faster, and for the jetpack, just go slower. We then do another conveyor belt section, and then fall down to get... Is that a broken toy car? We head back up and down the ladders, and I will find you. We open a random wall, and we go racing with the Brawlbuster. In this race, it's a bit tricky because you are more focused on going fast than actually being careful, which is stressful at times. But we get the lead-filled poison of this level. After bouncing around the level some more, we do another conveyor belt section where we have to be fast. We blast through more peepos and climb up a ladder, and we see the most useless checkpoint in this game. Yeah, there's literally one next room, but we get the spirit, and we go through another jetpack section. We kill Anton, and my jetpack advice really comes in handy with this part. And we Donkey Kong our way to the spirit timer, and it's happy hour! This time we summon a Mecha Satan, and I am thankful I am allowing checkpoints for this level, because this is the hardest part of the level with this challenge. You have to escape Mecha Satan while it's shooting lasers at Annie. The first room was not too hard, as you have to move around the conveyor belt. And to defeat Mecha Satan, you need to activate the detonators to defeat it. The second room gave me more trouble, as there are tilting platforms and pistons. We deal the second hit, and the third room has a spin in fire hoops and using conveyor belts. We then deal the third hit, and the final part of this section has Annie using a jetpack. Now, what was my advice for this one again? We then hit the last detonator, and Mecha Satan is defeated, and we go through the concrete machine, and that's another level cleared. Maulbuster. Maulbuster jumps into the background, and then she starts spawning speech bubbles, and in the meantime, whichever side of the screen you are on, Brawlbusters, flappers, and rolling Brawlbusters will appear. Now here you have to avoid the enemies while dodging the speech bubbles, which are always in the same pattern. Now at first, this sounds fine, until... But I have come up with the perfect solution to avoid everything. Beat up the Brawlbusters as soon as you can. If you can't, make sure to scream. So you have to push the Brawlbusters away. Then kill the rolling Brawlbusters, and then go into the right side, and then go to the middle to avoid the speech bubble. Then make sure to crouch to avoid the oncoming speech bubbles. If you need to, make sure you hit the Brawlbusters by sliding into them using the slide button, while still holding it down so that you stay crouched to avoid the next few speech bubbles. Keep doing this until Maulbuster uses the big speech bubbles, where you have to go to the sides to avoid the speech bomb. And that out of hell, which is its actual name on the wiki, will drop an anvil on the player, but thankfully the anvil only stuns the player and does not take damage from them. But you can hammer volt from the anvil to completely avoid it. Then the audience will throw tomatoes at Maulbuster and she will slowly get angry. Then make sure to take out the enemies while the big speech bubble floats on top and is about to explode into many smaller speech bubbles. so make sure to be careful. Maulbuster will do it again, and then Maulbuster will send homing speech bubbles to the player, so make sure you are quick but careful of the enemies around you. Maulbuster will keep doing this until he summons a cluster of speech bubbles in which you are going to run to hammer bolts over them and do an atomic bomb. Then clear out the enemies and go to the left so that with Buster's speech bubbles home onto Annie, and then run to the right side and hammer bolt and do an atomic bomb. Then the audience will throw the tomatoes at Maulbuster again, and here is one of the trickier parts. You have to defeat the enemies and then carefully avoid the homing speech bubbles. And then the audience will throw more tomatoes at Maulbuster, and this is the hardest part. Make sure to clear out all the enemies, and then Maulbuster will spawn a cluster of speech bubbles over Annie. Now jump over them and slide under them if you need to. You also need to constantly shift from left to right to effectively avoid the speech bubbles. And once it goes to the middle, go to the left and continue to jump over them. Once they all go to the left, make sure to shift to the right, and then keep jumping or sliding if you need to, while avoiding the speech bubbles that are slowly bombarding the right. And then the audience will throw tomatoes at Maulbuster, and then he will become pissed. And then this is the easiest part of the fight, but the most stressful. Maulbuster will throw a tomato at Annie, and you have to hammer bolt to send it back to her. Once you can't kill the Brawlbusters due to focusing on the tomato, just scream. And then we deliver the second to last attack, and we savor the moment that Maulbuster is lying dead on the ground. And we deliver that sweet, sweet final blow. That was the most satisfying part of this challenge this far. Seeing that mother dead on the screen. We then get the spirits, and that is thankfully another stupid boss cleared. Mysterious Glasshouse. Finally, a more relaxing level. We start by climbing the leaves on the plant, and then we go up to collect the water valve to water the plants. Anton then suddenly gets struck by lightning, and for some reason the balloon is not affected by this, but we have the mini demons helping us go up. We go into the background to kill some mosquitoes, we get another water valve, and then we do some glitch jumps on the leaves, and then we do another water valve puzzle while avoiding the beetles. And we patiently wait until we can get past the water, and we water some more plants, and we can proceed. We go through the flies and the water, and then we find the 8-ball. We then push it down all the way underwater to open up a new path, where we can avoid the beetles and destroy the enemies, and we get the cassette tape for this level. We then have to do yet another water valve puzzle, and then Anton turns into an angel again, and we have to carefully maneuver around the spike plants. And we are introduced to the birds that want to eat us. To avoid them, just be quick. But when it comes to the birds that chomp automatically, make sure to time your jumps. And we make it to the challenge room where all I can say is, be quick and hammer bolt all the way through the birds. And then we get the spray can to this level. We break some religious plaques? Hope that was not important. Once we jump into the foreground, we have to platform on some more birds to get that one trophy from Annie's Punch Bowl tournament, and then we have to clutch dash past the biffs, and then we rail grind to kill Anton, and then we do some more angel maneuvering when this mini demon decides to be an asshole. We avoid some more birds, and we make it to the Slackjaw's place, where, oh, that is so scary. Ooh, I'm so scared. So what we have to do here is have the Slackjaw eat the metal block so that we can proceed. And we activate the next detonator. We then turn into the Anton ball, and we do another Slackjaw puzzle, and we fall down heights that a non-Florida man would die from. And Anton dies again. We then detonate another detonator and knock the bowling pins off. And then we have to carefully avoid the Slackjaw that charges up at Anton while he is screaming for his life. We get the spirit, which does not really seem like it has alcohol. Oh well, I can't question a flying container. We do some short swimming sections, and it's happy hour! For some reason, I like to race the water down until I can't. We turn into the Anton ball, and we have to clutch jump on more leaves, and now we have to quickly but carefully avoid the Slackjaws, which can be quite tricky. I lost a lot of balloons while playing this section, but once the red sirens go off, move around and spam the spin button, and we make it out of there, and we do some more rail grinding. We then make it back to the Glasshouse, and we jump down, and we find Brulo's elevator, and that's another level cleared. Ring-a-dang! Annie must have really hated that bell and decides to hit it. And it turns out it's sentient. And Ring-a-dang will take action to defeat Annie. Ring-a-dang will start by summoning mini blue bells to shoot bullets or circle at the player. Make sure to hit them to send them back to Ring-a-dang. There will also be the bells that want to be Hotaru's from Sonic CD. Ring-a-dang will also slam his face down to try to crush the player. And Ring-a-dang will also use his tongue to split the screen in half for some reason. So make sure to spam the clutch button and hammer volt, and then Ring-a-dang will suck up the biffs. I should have not worded it like that, but oh well. And Ring-a-dang kills Annie. Wait, never mind, she is a demon now. So Ring-a-dang runs away, and we have to chase after him. And we have another bullet hell section where the boss and enemies attack you to make up the bullet hell, like some other bosses I know. Instead, this time, it only has the enemies and a few hate meteorites here and there. We also have to note that all the enemy patterns stay the same, so make sure to learn them, and we reach Ring-a-dang and we crush him to smithereens. And then Annie does an atomic bomb, and we have to do another bullet hell section, but much faster. After many tries of trial and error of the second phase, we beat Ring-a-dang, and... oh god, is that a biblically accurate bell? Ring-a-dang sends out the Hotaru bells to shoot lasers, and the only way to attack Ring-a-dang is to send the blue bells at him. Make sure to destroy the mini blue bells before they shoot. And this part is my favorite attack in the fight because this girl needed to pull off this attack. Hits every time. Ring-a-dang will also send his old body to attack Annie, and the Hotaru bells will become the Gaster Blasters of this fight at times. But after many tries, we send the blue bells at Ring-a-dang, and he will become enraged and send the entire moon to destroy Annie. But she must have played baseball because we knock it back and we defeat Ring-a-dang. We get the spirit, and that's another boss clear. And with that done, we can now go to hell. Deviled Gardens. Now you know things are going to become hell in terms of difficulty when the Beelzebub is the first enemy of the level. And this level shows that the platforming will become very difficult from here on out. The second room alone has so many enemies, and hate crates, or bombs. And because of that, I nearly had double digits of fails before the first checkpoint, which is insane. For one of the sections, we turn into the Annie Ball and we climb up a couple of hedges while defeating enemies, and then we meet Mitch, who wants to host a party. Well, good thing Annie brought some decorations already. Mitch has a spirit to this level, so he makes a deal with Annie, where Annie does the work of setting up the party, and in return, she gets the spirit. Our first task is to replace the Ghoul. We have no P in our Ghoul. And drain all the chlorine-filled water and replace it with new water with a soda packet. We defeat some more enemies, and we do some atomic bombs, and we enter the Ghoul. And then use the sponges around the area to drain the water. And then we become the Annie Ball, and we refill the water, and we replace it with Mountain Dew packets. And Annie swims in the Mountain Dew for a bit. And we get back on task, and we meet back with Mitch, who gives us our next task, which is to destroy Satan's boombox. And we start by destroying the blocks and enemies while climbing the hedges, and we are introduced to the Medusa statues, in which they send out rays to turn us into stone, and we're stuck until we hit a wall or we are moving for long enough. We then blast through the statues, and then we blast through some more enemies, and then we do an atomic bomb on the ground, and we get the cassette tape. And then we go back up, and we blast through even more enemies, and platform on tilting platforms, and we hope to avoid the fires of hell. And then we destroy some more statues, and then we're launched by the concrete machine, and we destroy the boombox. We then head down, and the mini-demon references the book, you know, the book. And then Mitch's next task is to destroy the clock tower of hell. We then blast through some more enemies, and then we change the time on the clock, and we start with the spade store, where we carefully avoid the fairy bottles, and then we detonate the spade detonator, and then the fairies chase us down using their magic, and then we get out. We then change the time again, and we head into the diamond store, where we have to blast through enemies and knock a giant 8-ball to the beginning, and then activate the diamond detonator. We then change the time once more to 13:20 o'clock, and we enter the club store, where we have to blast through enemies, and we destroy the fairy bottles, and we quickly escape from them, and the lava, and those dreaded tilting platforms. But we activate the club detonator, and then forgetting something. Oh yeah! I then restart from the checkpoint and then run back to Mitch's place to get the headphones. And we activate the heart detonator. And we destroy the entire clock tower. We then return to Mitch, and he keeps his promise by giving us our spirit. But it turns out we aren't invited to the party. So in retaliation, Annie jumps down, and it's happy hour! We start by crawling through the hedge maze, and we destroy some enemies, flip some dice, and then we blast through some more enemies. And then we do some more platforming, which can be tricky, but is fun. We then jump back and forth through the background and foreground, and we blast through much more enemies, and we get to Brulo's mech, and somehow stuff the balloon into the mech. And this becomes a run and gun game without the difficulty. and we are invincible. Though we do want to be careful, because if we want to get to the spray can, we have to slow down and shoot the hedges, so we can platform to the spray can, and some extra poker chips. While this is happening, the Cloaked Demon is summoning enemies to try to stop Annie, but she is too caught up in destroying everything. Thankfully, you can't take a hit, but we use our chainsaw to destroy everything. And then the Brullo mech explodes, and we run up to Brullo's elevator, and that's another level complete. We go to Brullo's shop to extend the timer a little bit, because we are going to need it for the final level. It's happy hour! Here we are, Hell Manor. We are now invading Hell to take back what is ours. Make sure to grip tightly on your balloon, because this level tests everything you have learned throughout the entire game. And this level does not disappoint. We start the level jumping and obliterating the first few enemies by spamming the clutch button to slingshot at blistering speeds. And then we have to slide under the Beelzebubster and then keep clutching, and we then see our spear. But we have to destroy the 4 detonators to reach it. We do a cool hammer vault clutch, and then we blast through more enemies, and we do some more clutch jumps, and we slide another Beelzebubster. And we are met with the sewer shark once more. We have to do some jumps while hitting the clutch button to move slightly faster and to break the metal blocks. We are then ejected from the sewer shark, and we have to do the first challenge room. We have to carefully swim while avoiding the hate mines, and we also have to hold jump to bounce off the flies. And then we have to patiently wait for the wrecking balls to get out of our way, so that we can get the weasel on the string. And then we are thrown to become the Crash Bandicoot, and we destroy the tornado blocks. And then we are thrown to get the 8-ball and avoid the duck, and hammer vault the toy Satans, and we rise the water's level, and we destroy the toilet to this place, and we have to clutch jump on the conveyor belts and plants while avoiding the water and hate mines. And then we make it to another challenge room, in which I somehow managed to do first try. Usually when doing this room, I always screw up. It's that one room where you have to hold down the jump button while making the precise box jumps, and it's really tedious. After swatting a few mosquitoes and boxes, we get the cassette tape and our one and only checkpoint in this level. So make sure to savor it while you can. We then have to beat up rooms full of enemies, starting with the bazookas, the scarrets, and the repos. Then to the enemies and the jewel goons. And then onto the scarrets and little freaks. Then the repos and the blue bells. Then the spoilings and the red ballbusters. And then we finally beat up the devil minions, and after blasting anyone who comes our way into teeny tiny little pieces, and we chase a Maulgoblin to its death while scarets are aiming at us, and we really become the Anton ball once again, and we bounce from slope to slope, and we dash for more poker chips, and we have an upside down section in which you can quickly go through, but once you hit the detonator, just wait a little bit for the repos to explode, and then you can continue blasting through bricks and enemies. The next section has Anton carefully swim, and we make it to the shark coop, and it's not too bad. We then make it to the jetpack section, which as usual, going slow is safer. And we make it to the last collectible challenge room. That does not involve Paul. where we have to break a metal block with the atomic bomb, and then the electrified depots will come, but just atomic bomb over them, and they will switch back to the normal depots, and they will all explode. And we get the last break in. Anton then destroys the Satan statue, and we play pinball again, or skip it entirely and just do the Sonic Adventure spin dashing strategies. And then we go through the dumpster, and we are launched through a concrete machine, and we get the spirit, and it's time to make a mad dash to the exit, while blasting all the Brawlbusters that just so happen to step our path, while lava is coming down on us. But eventually we make it to Brillo's elevator, and oh, it's a fake again. We beat up the Satan elevator, and then we swim up into the next dumpster. We stuff the balloon into Brillo's mech, and we obliterate all the enemies that are on screen, and show them no mercy for stealing our spirits. We then take a few deep breaths, as they will be our last. We are then ejected out of the mech, and we have to do some clutch jumps consistently, which gets stressful. We then make it to the last rocket, where you can finally ignore my rocket advice, unless if it's the end, because the Bucket Brigade is chasing us with their blimp again, and at the very end of this chase section, fire will come. Still, we will not let them catch us. After fiercely avoiding damage and destroying hell at the same time, we are launched out of the concrete machine, and we do a dramatic jump, and we are sent back to Brillo's elevator, and that is another level cleared. We purchase our last balloon, and we will name it Manuel Juan Hernández IV, because it's a descendant of the last few balloons. Anyways, we have one more fight to fight. Here we are, face to face with Satan, with Manuel Juan Hernández IV. Satan describes that he did not need the moles, and notices that Manuel is red too. So Satan jumps out of his throne and takes all the spirits, and we start the fight. Satan will use his ass to bounce around the room, so you have to hammer vault onto it to deal damage to Satan. But you will knock him too high, and because of that, he will do his version of the atomic bomb. So make sure that he lands before you hit him again. Satan will also use a slingshot attack in which he hits the depot and launches himself too far to the point where he gets stuck into the wall. Now is your chance to literally whoop his ass. Satan will also use the clutch, in which you can clutch back to parry and deal a hit to Satan. Satan will also play the nose to summon the mini demons. You can also slide under Satan to avoid him while he is walking, so you have an easier time dodging. Once Satan has lost 2/3 of his health, his atomic bomb will spread out more ground waves, in which I recommend to hammer vault over and do an atomic bomb yourself. Once you beat Satan's ass enough times, he will tumble over, and now is your chance to deliver the final blow. But Satan's mirror sacrifices himself to save Satan.
My mirror! I've got to get out of here.
Now we are chasing Satan down to destroy him. We clutch jump while blasting through enemies while avoiding lava, and we become the Anton ball for one last time. And we are launched out of the concrete machine, and we blast through some more Brawlbusters, and then we charge at Satan, and he has had enough, and then becomes a biblically accurate Lucifer. And then we just run away, screaming and clutching as fast as we can, while blasting through some more Brawlbusters and carefully avoiding the fire and lava. We then blast through some more Brawlbusters, and then Anton trips on the floor, and then biblically accurate Lucifer grabs a straw and sucks up all of Anton's redness. And then, while Anton is lying defeated on the ground, Satan sucks the redness out of Manuel Juan Hernández IV, and then kills him. And Anton watches as his best friend dies in front of him, having all of his red sucked out of him, and lying there, popped.
Yes! I finally have all of the red and all of the power. Now that I'm the reddest thing on the planet, it's time to start thinking about a mate.
But every thought Anton has about Manuel Juan Hernández IV, he can't help but be angry at the man who killed him. Then the spirits disobey Satan, and then... Satan is surprised by Anton's arrival, and Satan, who does not want to fight Anton, gets out Freako Dragon, Ghoul, and Ring-a-Ding to fight Anton. But Anton shoves him out of the way to the corner, and then the Bucket Brigade tries to drive straight into Anton to prove themselves worthy. The Bucket Brigade then destroys Satan's castle, and then everyone falls while the Bucket Brigade shoot missiles at Anton, but it's no use. The Bucket Brigade then make it to the bottom of hell, and then the blimp explodes.
I guess it's true. If you want something done right, you have to do it yourself.
From this point on, it gets real. Satan starts with slamming his fingers to the ground to try to crush Anton, so just go in between the fingers and spam the clutch button to destroy Satan's fingers. Once Satan walks around, dodge the lasers. Thankfully, they will always shoot at the same location for every attempt. So, for this one, I would recommend going into the very corner of the screen to avoid the lasers. Satan will then send out rocks, wait until they are no longer fiery red, and then hit them back to Satan by clutch boosting upwards to avoid getting hit by oncoming rocks. Once the attack ends, Satan will send out paper, and a giant laser prepares to shoot. And make sure to climb on top of the papers and then do a clutch boost upwards once the scissors come in. But be slow about the clutch boosting upwards because you can only do 3 before it resets once Anton hits the ground. Satan will then walk away and to dodge this set of lasers, clutch boost upwards on the left side of the screen, and then Satan will send out ball demons while sending out falling mini demons. Be careful when clutching to the ball demon, and try your best to avoid the falling mini demon. Then, after Satan falls down, go to the right and then clutch boost upwards once the laser signals that it's gonna shoot the ground. Satan then gets mad and will try to use the finger attack again, but much faster. So be quick. Then the lasers tripped me so many times with this set. So make sure you're on the middle of the screen and then clutch upwards And then once your boost runs out, do an atomic bomb to quickly and efficiently get down there. Then clutch boost upwards onto the rocks again, and then immediately after, clutch upwards to avoid the scissors. Then the laser attack has Anton go back and forth, so take it slowly, and you should be good. Satan then sends out the mini-demon projectiles and the mini-demon balls again, and we hit them back at him, and then Satan will get angry and use his legs to stomp on Anton. You can use the upper clutch to your advantage while avoiding the shockwaves on the ground. And we destroy Satan's legs, and we punch his ass so hard that we send him flying into the background. Satan will then grab Anton, and this is the most difficult phase to not get hit in, because you have to avoid Satan's eye lasers and the lasers that come in 3 and tow him onto the plate while hitting Satan's nose. But take it slowly, but be careful for said attacks. Once we take out Satan's nose, we have to aim for the eyes. This time, Satan's crown can catch Anton, and the laser that homes in on the player will hit Anton. So be careful. Once we destroy Satan's eyes, we have to keep hitting Satan's crown, and then Anton's mighty effing hammer will grow in size, and we slam Satan in the face, sending him flying into the background. Then Anton gets sprung up by the springs, and we fly towards Satan, as we will avenge Manuel Juan Hermandiz IV. After avenging the balloon by beating the ever-living out of Satan, he falls to the ground and loses everything he held dear to him. Then, to exact revenge on Anton, Satan switches off a bomb that will blow up the entire planet and detonates it. The Dynamite duo then fly off to the entrance to Brulo's casino, and Anton lands on the same car he did in Anton Ball Deluxe. Brillo comes out to congratulate Anton, and Anton just runs off. Meanwhile, Danton just finished up fixing everything. And then the explosion takes place, then Danton dies, and everything on the planet explodes. Then Anton and Annie make it back to their apartment, and then say cheers and drink in memory of Manuel Juan Hermandiz IV, and all the other balloons before it, all the way down to high. And somehow their apartment was the only thing that survived the explosion, and that was Antonblast. Alright, now that we have beat the game, we can delete this stupid file, and crap. I forgot to check Nina's records to see how many balloons died on this journey. Now I have to manually count 11 hours of footage to see how many died. Starting off with 0 balloons destroyed in Boiler City, 11 balloons destroyed in Slowroast Sewer, 1 balloon destroyed with Brawlbuster, 2 balloons destroyed in Cinnamon Springs, 9 balloons destroyed in Bomb Candy Mines, 6 balloons destroyed with Ghoul, 1 balloon destroyed in the Big Bath, 3 balloons destroyed with Tallbuster, 13 balloons destroyed in Concrete Jungle, 3 balloons destroyed in Pinball Mire, 1 balloon destroyed with Freako Dragon, 6 balloons destroyed in the Mad Mall, 6 balloons destroyed with Smallbuster, 17 balloons destroyed in Crimson Factory, 211 balloons destroyed with Maulbuster. 18 balloons destroyed in the mysterious Glasshouse. 51 balloons destroyed with Ring-a-Ding. 20 balloons destroyed in Deviled Gardens. 51 balloons destroyed in Hell Manor. And finally, 18 balloons destroyed with Satan, giving us a total of 448 balloons that were harmed in the making of this video, and a file time of nearly 12 hours. Thank you for watching this video, and I will return next month. It's happy hour! Do 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 do.